Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Resiliency podcast. We got Tristan, my brother, Too Tough, Ezell in the building tonight. How we feeling, brother?
Feeling pretty good, man. Always, you already know. Glad you can be here in California. Glad you made the trip. That's what's up.
Man, definitely, thankful that, took the time just to, sit down with me, bro. Truly appreciate it, bro. So,
of course.
And before we get started, brother, new tradition, right, that we've been starting on Resiliency podcast, man. Presenting our guests, man, with, the appeal, brother. So, got you the blue and black guy, you know what I'm saying?
There we go. I know this one is very special, brother. You already know.
Man, third person, you know what I'm saying, to ever get it. So
there we go.
Heck yeah, brother. So,
I appreciate that.
Man, I appreciate you, man. And then Trish, man, the reason why I wanted to get you on here, man, is because, man, you just, you're truly inspirational. Every day, I watch your stories and, I just see that determination, that no quit mentality. You definitely represent resiliency, for sure. So
thank you, brother. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And it's became a lifestyle that, going back to whenever we first met in 2010. So
right.
Let's think about that. You're talking about I'm someone now on Instagram that's inspirational to other people, right. But this is something that goes back past whenever me and you first met 11 years ago.
That's real.
As kids.
That's real.
So, I appreciate it, but you still got a long way to go. The resilient is about bouncing back.
Right.
From whatever. Real. So.
And that's real right there. And, a lot of people don't know, right? Like me and Trish, yeah, we met, in the 7th grade and, just built that connection, right away. We connected and, just been at it, ever since. And you're right about that, like that resiliency, that lifestyle, like you say, we definitely, got a long way to go. But like you say, it's something that started back then, and
Yep.
Just, starting with the wrestling journey and then getting into, training, right? You're training to get in the UFC, correct? Talk about how, your wrestling journey started and how that was for you.
Okay. So, honestly, wrestling, it's been a part of my whole life ever since we've gone back, ever since anything that I've had going on for my life, right. Since I could ever feel confident enough to talk about it. Right. That's really what wrestling had done for me. I started when I was 9 years old. Right. Started after a little incident that happened at school where I had a little fight with someone outside of school in a football game. And I had to run home and tell the embarrassing story to my dad. And my dad is no one to mess with, man. The show knows. Right. This guy is, you know what I mean? So
right.
I told him and he was very frustrated and upset and just had all these different feelings going towards what had happened because he couldn't control it. But at the end of the day, he helped me get into a wrestling program about a week later. And it was a hard road, man. I was a little kid, overweight, didn't really have any business being there, but it taught me how to be resilient. It taught me how to just form myself into the person I am now. So,
right. Yeah, that's real. And then, like wrestling, because you even went to college for it. Can I ask, because I always wondered, like, is there something like professionally set up for like wrestlers after? Because, like I know, especially for a guy like you don't strike me, WWE type guy. And that stuff's not even real, but right. Is there like something professional, like set up for wrestling and for wrestlers after college and things like that? Because I don't know.
So it's a great question. Honestly, people don't know that type of thing.
Yeah, I do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what it comes down to, right? With wrestling and with this whole entire aspect of, how is it going to be popular? How is it going to be something that's going to actually bring in revenue for anyone to start a business around it?
Right.
How does it actually gain the attraction that fighting does? How does it gain the attraction that jiu-jitsu is managing to do it? How does it? I don't know. But what it does is it has these guys that worked real, real hard.
Right.
And it has these professional cameras just like we have right now.
Right.
And it just has this era around it. It has this feeling around it. And it puts these wrestlers at a pedigree where like you go your whole life knowing, hey, don't mess with the wrestlers. if you see them and if you don't know how to fight, or if you don't know how to defend yourself, or if you don't want those problems,
Right.
But what do these guys do after college?
Right.
Most of them, just like you would maybe not expect, go to a job that wasn't even focused around what they were focused on in college, and they just go into something that is just real life oriented, paycheck oriented, making sure their family's taken care of, making sure they're taken care of. But where's the sport in that? They were athletes,
Right.
college athletes. But what happens is that no one has really stepped up enough to be able to create a professional wrestling, amateur wrestling, rule-based uh, sport or professional promotion yet for these
Right.
athletes. So these guys have gone to MMA, gone to the UFC,
Gotcha.
gone to Bellator, made the transition, learned how to kick people, learned how to punch people, learned how to do submissions, learned how to do self-defense from top to bottom as a grown man against
Right.
someone in an ultimate combat sport.
Right.
So, as far as being an athlete after college for wrestling, it's almost impossible if you're going
Right.
to only be a wrestler,
Gotcha.
unless you're going to the Olympics, and unless you have a business-oriented mind for yourself that's going to help you build a business around wrestling that hasn't been tried before, and that is going to be more successful than anything that's been tried already. It's
Right.
only been tried a couple of times. So, I would love to see it. I think there is potential in it, especially with wrestling being such a popular background in UFC,
Right.
because these guys that can throw hands and they look real nice on the feet, when they get blasted up to the ground and all of a sudden they lock their legs around the guy's back and they're just trying to do this game, help me. I'm begging for my life. I can't get off my back. That's where the wrestler dominates and finishes the fight sometimes. So, you know what
That's
I mean?
real.
It's interesting, man. It's something that I think will come to fruition in the future. I think professional amateur-based wrestling will have, a sport where they can make money and they can be athletes in wrestling outside of just only qualifying for the Olympics, which is the smallest percentage of thing
Right.
to do. And to win the Olympic gold medal, the ultimate dream.
Right.
So,
And so I have, two questions for you. But the first one I want to ask you is, did you ever aspire, when you were wrestling to, want to go to the Olympics?
absolutely. That was always one of my biggest dreams,
Mhm.
because whenever I, especially in middle school, when we were first growing up with each other,
Right.
I didn't really have like a whole lot of careers that were
Right.
going to be based around wrestling.
Right.
So I was like, I got to do this in high school. I got to do this in college. It's
Right.
got to go this way. I got to go to Colorado Springs, go to the Olympic Training Center. I got to start training for freestyle and Greco. And I got to start trying to be on the Olympic team.
Right.
I'm thinking about this as a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old.
I know, and when I say I kid you not, you've always, always, always had that mentality. Like, I'm talking about Trish, man, sweatsuits on, not eating. Like, he's been, like you say, and I think back what you said when we started, man, this goes back to when we first met. Like, no, we ain't just, and it's crazy to think, dang, we didn't just develop this mentality and stuff. No, we been had it. It's been there. It's
This is supposed to look like an overnight success.
Come on.
Overnight success doesn't just happen overnight.
Right.
So
that's real.
That's,
Man, that's real right there, man. Let me ask you, what do you think what helped you in the biggest way going from wrestling to I don't know, because you said wrestlers transferring to MMA, UFC.
Yeah.
So what is it that you specifically do? Because I don't want to be wrongly pronouncing it. So
no problem. So a lot of the general public thinks that competing in mixed martial arts
right.
is actually competing in something called UFC.
See, and that's why I say I don't want to keep saying UFC. So
hey, it's all good because honestly, I have to tell people in public. People ask me about this little ugly ear I have right here,
right?
And they'll be like, "Oh, so you do UFC?" Sometimes I don't got the heart to tell them, man. Sometimes I'm like, "Yeah, I do UFC, brother." Like, thank you so much,
Right.
But in my heart, I'm like, I want to tell you it's MMA. I want to, let
right.
you know, brother, that
it is.
You could say it's competing in MMA, but at the end of the day, people are just getting educated into this whole entire
Right.
thing, bro. Like, there's so many more fans that are coming into it that are generating more money, more revenue, more everything for the MMA business and for just amateur fighters as well. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah,
So my question was gonna be, transitioning, from wrestling to
to
MMA,
MMA.
what did you feel is your biggest strength like that helped you from learning wrestling? And then what was something you had to work on?
So I would say the biggest strength that I had going into MMA from wrestling was that I got to realize that I did have something that was valuable to everybody else that was around me.
Right.
That really helped me finally be like, all right, you know what? Like, they're gonna treat me a little different here. It's
Hmm.
gonna be different.
Right.
You know what I mean? So because with this wrestling background, this wrestling pedigree, like, I'm going against guys in practice in wrestling
Right.
that only competed in a Muay Thai their whole life. So Muay Thai is kickboxing,
Got you.
but with elbows and just like a little bit different rules. But if you think about it, like, imagine being a kickboxer your whole life,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you want to do MMA, UFC, MMA. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's guys that wrestle their whole entire life, just like you've been doing kickboxing your whole entire life.
Right.
So if you don't knee him, elbow him, punch him, or kick him in the head, he's going to take you down. And if he knows how to ground and pound, when he gets down on the ground,
Right.
it's going to be a bad night for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I just knew that if I could keep this just the years and the experience that I built from wrestling my whole entire life, then I knew that I was going to continue to thrive in this area of mixed martial arts. And
Right.
so I was like, man, there's no reason why I shouldn't be here. And so that really helped me out a lot in that first area.
My question was, what did you feel like, was a weakness of yours, coming in from wrestling into the MMA world? Because, like I was saying, I watch a whole bunch of, MMA now. Shout out to, Antonio, because, he got me into watching the fight. So I'm talking about every time fights come on now,
Yeah.
I always be like, hey, are you watching the fight? Or like, I flip it on the UFC, or like ESPN, and like just watch the fights all the time. And I always hear like the commentators and stuff saying, oh, well, that fighter wrestled for 15, 20 years to,
Right.
like it kind of gives you like an edge, like an advantage. But,
Right.
what was something you had to work on though?
Yeah. So with basically the best way I could sum it up, the only thing that I really could work on was working on everything.
Right.
Like, I have over 15 years of wrestling, but that doesn't mean I know how to take someone down in a fight
Got you. Okay.
and go down to the ground and know how to hold them down properly and know how to punch them in the face properly without them getting their hips away and starting to get back up
Right.
and continuing the fight. You know what I mean? Like, that was the biggest thing, is that I had to work on everything. I had to learn how to box. I had to learn how to strike at all. I had to learn how to kick. I had to learn how to do any jujitsu. I had to learn how to grapple. I had to learn through getting choked out. I had to learn through getting knocked out. You know what I mean? Like, people recently out of nowhere, man, I was having like a little like tinge of boo-boos where like a couple weeks in a row I was having like pain in my shoulder, and then all of a sudden I had like a pain in my toe, and I was, and then I had like a little tweak in my knee, and I was like, man, like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden someone said to me, and they're like, man, honestly, Tristan, I'm starting to think like maybe you just love pain. And I was like, maybe you're right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, pain, whenever you stop feeling it, is one of the best feelings in the world.
That's real.
In anything.
True.
You're experiencing pain in your stomach. What's the number one thing you want? Is whenever that pain to go away.
Right.
As soon as it goes away, oh my God, it's the best feeling in the world.
That's real.
So, when I heard that, maybe you just love pain. I don't know. I don't know if I do. I don't think that I do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because whenever I'm in pain, like, it does hurt.
Right.
But at the end of the day, what you learn from building a pain tolerance from physical, mental experiences that you're going through day to day, working out, through your job, through your kids, through your wife, through whatever's going on for you, you know, it's a challenge that anybody can go through, man. And working on yourself in and out through aspects of daily routine,
Right.
aspects of daily training, aspects of daily financial base, like whatever you need to step up on, work on that in every way that you can.
That's real.
And that's it. That's it.
And that's, and that's real. Let me ask, because like I know you saying like that's it, but let me ask, like you say, when you feel pain, when you going through these regimes, and you're doing them over and over, like what keep you motivated? Because like I know you saying like that's it, but for someone else they like what he mean, that's it, it's not that easy. So what's something that keep you motivated, or some advice you would give to somebody who want to keep that resume, but they might fail every now and then and get discouraged? How do you just keep laser focused?
Yeah. So, the one thing that I would tell anybody that would maybe be on this path, or that maybe is going to experience or is feeling it in some sort of way, I would say, build a a want and a drive for self discipline within yourself,
Right.
and search whatever type of skill trade or whatever type of money revenue that you maybe find interesting, and also search up some things that you are very interested in your life. And whenever you look at all these things combined, think about whatever it is that you do as an athlete, from wrestling to MMA to jujitsu to soccer, football. All of these things can relate to just an athlete in general. If you put all of these things combined together that are your interest, and you just focus on going through whatever it is as a kid and as a teenager, and as a teenager going into a man, and as a young man going into an adult, these things are going to start to attract your life because you're disciplined,
That's
because you
real.
work hard. If you just keep going forward, all these things that you like, all these things that you want around you are going to find a way to be involved in your life.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would say, um, like I said, you know, search, find some things you're attracted to, find some things that you think can help you in the future, find some things that you don't know about, implement them into your daily life a little bit as you can, maybe opening up a story, maybe opening up a different Instagram account, maybe looking up a website that doesn't involve anything with social media at all, that just maybe will help you out on two lines that you read from it that you think is interesting, and play your life. Because if you're a good student, you're going to find out that something in the skill trade area can pay you a good amount of money as a 17, 18-year-old kid to be able to set up your life for the rest of your life. Don't
That's
go through that 18 to 23-year-old period where you're stuck figuring out how you're going to get up and get going.
right. That's real, because and I remember my cousin Izzy was just telling me one time, like he like why you got that fire now, like just keep going, just keep driving, because as you get older, you start to lose that, you know what I mean? So like you say, don't even get to that stage of that 18, 23, like where you feeling like, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna get started? And like, I know you was talking about sports, but I'm like, shit, what you saying relate to life too.
Yeah.
Whatever you like, whatever you don't like, health,
Yeah.
everything, a job, whatever,
Yeah.
look it up, research. I'm like, I never heard that. Like, okay, if I'm interested in that revenue, I should look up,
Yeah.
search that revenue. Like
Right.
how that get happen. I'm like, okay, I need to do that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So Trish, man, let me ask, man, how do you know, or when do they know when you're ready to transition into MMA? Because I know your work ethic. I didn't seen it. I don't have to be in the gym to know like you the hardest damn worker, and you will beat anybody. Like that's just my personal opinion. Like I ain't go, like people be like, oh, he said he'll beat anybody's ass, but like. So that's how I felt. I'm like, shit, I call Trish, so anybody, but like, is that something that's decided between like, the people you train with, or how do you like become a professional MMA fighter and get there?
So, so if we're gonna talk about wrestling to MMA, then that choice right there, simply put, is just on your own, because whenever you're growing up as a wrestler and all of a sudden you transition over to fighting,
Right.
it's on you if you want to make that transition. You know what I mean? Because you grew up wrestling, like you don't have to go fight.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to. You can do
Gotcha.
your own life, do whatever you want, go sell cars, you know,
Right.
do whatever, you know, it doesn't
Right.
matter. But uh with transitioning from wrestling to MMA to being a professional fighter,
Right.
now that right there is something different, because whenever you're transitioning from wrestling or transitioning from football or whatever it is, and then you're in MMA, at that point, it's basically once again on you, in a sense of your develop, like how fast you're going to develop,
Right.
how fast you're going to be able to show your beginning potential, how
Right.
fast are you going to pick up on detail, how slow are you going to go so that you don't lose attention to detail during drilling, how, you know what I mean? I said
Right.
how fast, how slow.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
not all boom, 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 boom in order to be able to be a pro. No.
Right.
Like some people really have to one of the best examples to put it is that Snoop Dogg one time was having a conversation with Wiz Khalifa.
Right.
And he told Snoop Dogg that, you know, whenever he was with Dr. Dre and whenever he was with some of the best in the game, he knew that Dr. Dre was in the driver's seat and that he was in the passenger seat.
Right. That's real.
But he knew whenever they showed up to the show and it was time for womp, 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 womp.
Right.
That's Snoop Dogg.
Right.
So it's the same game. And that's why I decided to do the whole thing, was because I saw that you control your destiny on whenever you're a professional fighter, unless your coaches are really so invested in you,
right,
that they decide to let you know through your training, through your personal experiences throughout the week, throughout the month, that, hey, you're getting beat by this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy in the room in these areas. You're not hitting the pads right whenever I'm holding them for you. And it doesn't even look like you're really dieting that much. You're not ready for professional. You're not even hardly ready for a fight.
right.
You know what I mean? So it's an on you game. It's an on you game. If you want to live your life disciplined, if you have the money or the connections to have a nutritionist, if you have the connections to the professional gym, if you have the connections to the coach, or if you just grew up and you were really talented, and with that talent, you met someone that connected you to a person that was a professional fighter.
Right.
Maybe that's how you get into it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So it's just like the podcast. Eventually, one day you're gonna have this for Kai and Kyron, and for Bear, Lala, and they're gonna be like, wait. So Dad was setting up this business or this idea, this invention, this creation of putting himself out there on camera, so that by the time that a professional studio that is paying him a contract and having him sign a dotted line, by the time they're having him do it, it's for real. It's for the actual, like, it's not for just like, you know, it's not an idea.
Come on,
it's not an idea.
That's real.
It's real life.
It's real life. Come on.
So
shit real. Man, shit real. So you know.
It's a business, man. It's a business in itself with MMA. And so to answer your question, from wrestling to MMA or wrestling to MMA to professional MMA, once again, in a short, it's basically your own time, and it's basically your own decision on how disciplined you are. It's basically how connected you are, and it's basically, you know, how many stars are going to align for you, brother.
Man, that's real.
You know?
So let me ask, man, because, you know, just always watching, you know, like, you know, MMA and, you know, jiu-jitsu, all those things. You know, I'll be like, they brave. I could never, you know, step in the ring. I'm like, to put yourself out there to get knocked out, to, like you said, get choked to sleep, man. I want to know, like, because like you say that's happened. Like, how does that feel like after? Like, because I always wonder, like, how do fighters, feel? Because I watched the Chuck Liddell 30 for 30. I think it was with Tito, right? Like
Yep.
that was like his rival. And like he was saying something about getting knocked out. Like you don't know like how that feel. Like so like how does that feel, bro? Like I just want to know, like just being a
So, luckily I haven't been knocked out in a fight.
right.
Knock on wood, don't want that to happen.
Right.
Don't plan
Cause
for that.
I'm like, True, you sure you been knocked out?
Yeah, bro.
I was like, maybe you just saying that. Cause
Yeah.
I don't think nobody ever knocked you out.
Luckily, yeah. But at sparring, I have had a couple times where I got head kicked and had to like stay on the ground, like couldn't get up right away.
Right.
And that right there is a different feeling in itself because the numbness goes all the way from your neck to your feet. And it's kind of like getting hit with like it's like getting hit with a taser, but except this person is just striking. You know what I
Right.
mean? This person is just practicing fighting, and all of a sudden you get hit. But the reason why it feels like that like charge or almost like that in like taser feeling is because you have nerves in your body.
Right.
And depending on where the person hits you or depending on how violent the person is depending on where they're targeting for hitting you.
Right.
So if you get knocked out, sometimes it feels like nothing and sometimes it hurts actually because you don't even get completely knocked out.
Right.
So you got to actually like suffer a little bit.
And so, like, let me ask, man, when you going into the ring, with an opponent, man, like, what helps you? Because, like, I feel like you gotta have a fearless mentality. Because, like, you're not going in there to fucking play. You're going in there to, going in there to, knock each other out, man. So how do you, what's your mentality? Because I'm like, it gotta be fearless, like to.
Yeah, honestly, man, ever since the tattoo, man, respect all, fear none. That's literally been it. And I know it's cliche, but that's it, man. Honestly, for real. Like, I can respect any opponent that wants to go out there and be respectful back, that wants to be a genuine opponent, wants to be a good fighter, wants to put himself on the line against me. But at the same time, I will not fear you. I will never fear you in a fight. If I signed up to do it, then best believe I'm fully 100% confident in myself to win. That's what you got to have in order to be anything as far as a MMA fighter, professional MMA fighter, any type of fighter in general. You just got to have that mindset, that switch, and that 100% belief and confidence in yourself that whenever your name is up and they're calling Tristan, too tough, Ezell, how you feel and whatever you're planning on going through in those minutes whenever you're out there is your own thing. And for me, it's one of the best feelings of my life.
It's real, man. I think it's dope, bro. Like, fighting for a life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's...
Right.
Like I say, like, bro, you a badass. Like I say, the ultimate badass in my eyes, bro. Like I say, I'll be like, all right, well, maybe call my brother Trish. Hey, look. They gonna be like, hey, what he come to do? All right.
Yeah.
Man, but man, that's just, man, it's cool though. You feel me?
Thank
like
you,
it's
and honestly, for me to be just like how I put a little veer on how wrestling may work out for some people and how it may not work out for other people as far as what your goals are and what you're oriented around. It's the same with this MMA thing for me, man. Like, fighting, like I say, it's one of the best feelings in the world for me because I have my faith, my confidence, my beliefs, everything set in a line. Whenever he says it's time to fight, let's go.
Right.
So I have no choice but to feel good in that time. I have no choice. If I want to feel bad, I should have decided to do that weeks ago.
Right.
And just decided not even to go in.
That's real.
You know what I mean? So.
And then, because I don't know your record, with the MMA.
Right.
And, I don't think you're going to lose to anybody or have lost to anybody.
So I have a couple L's, but they're all lessons, no losses.
Okay, because that's what I was going to, because that's my biggest thing. Like, sometimes people look at, losses as, like a loss. Like, because I was going to ask, as a fighter, like, how do you respond from that? Because, I think that's the most bravest, toughest thing. Like, dude just lost last month, but, like, he's still ready to go in there and fight again. Like, how do you handle that? From even wrestling, losing to winning. Like, how do you handle the losses? Like, is it just something like you said, just learning?
Yeah. So for me, honestly, when it comes to this topic, the losses in wrestling were way worse than um the two losses I've had in my fighting career.
Right.
But when I had those losses in my fighting career, mind you, I was 22 years old and 24 years old. I'm only 25 right now, but nonetheless, like I had already gone through from 9 years old to 22 years old of trial and error
Right.
of myself on the line in a sport that's not like fighting, but it's a combat sport in itself by just, takedowns, slamming people, picking people up, doing cranks and all this kind of different maneuvers and stuff that looks crazy. It's a little, it is what it is, but it's not fighting. And, at the end of the day, the reason why you can accept a loss if you have to in fighting is because you have to fully accept everything that it is that you put out on the line in the contest. So if you let it get to the duration of the fight and you really did lose,
Right.
man, it is what it is. Like you should have output more. You should have maybe adjusted this more. You should have maybe done this more. You should have this. You should have that. But bro, man, I'll tell you what. One of the worst conversations you have with yourself is how many times you can say you should have or what if or what if or what. But I can't handle that for longer than 2 minutes in real life,
Right,
in day to
like,
day
like
life. Like I can't. What if this real? What? No, bro. I can't. I need to just
focus in the moment. Come
if I'm
on.
here and I did this right, then great. If I didn't do it right, it's not that great, but let me work on what I've already worked on over these years as building and all these trial and error and just not react in just such an emotional or such a negative or such a whatever way like I have in the past. It's a lot of these things, it is what it is. It
Right.
needs to be figured out whenever it needs to be figured out or it just a pass in the breeze.
Right. And then, man, Trish, like a lot of people just, see the hard work that you put in, getting up every day, just being resilient, man. But, a lot of people don't know, man, like you moved out here with this dream, like not even a dream, but like you say, it's not, because it's not no dream, bro. This is real life, bro. This is life. Like, it's it or nothing. You feel me? Like, it's
Yeah.
live or die. You feel me? Man, talk to me, about that, because like I know that wasn't easy, man. And just to, just talk about just believing in yourself, bro, because I think that's big. You feel me? Like a lot of people don't, believe in themselves, but you like, I'm willing to move out here. I'm willing to struggle, go through things. We
Yeah.
had talks out, you can
Yeah.
talk about it, man, but to get into where you at now, man, because
Yeah.
I'm like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I honestly
real.
really do appreciate it. I really do.
Come on.
Because, man, it was not an easy road. It was not. But I'll tell you right now, whenever I put all my cards on the line, just like whenever I put my foot on the line on the mat, just like whenever I put myself out there in the middle of that cage and I'm looking at the other guy right in his soul, I'm just not gonna, I'm not gonna fall back. I'm not gonna take the losses over the pros anymore. There's no more cons over pros. It's pros over cons always forever, no matter what.
It's real.
It's positive over darkness, it's light over negative, like,
Come
and
on.
that's it for life. So, honestly, whenever it comes down to anything that helps me come over the pass of, breaking through as far as where I was going to go and how I was going to actually build this niche that didn't seem like it was going to be able to actually be turned back for the worst, was not only finding a rebirth in my connection with God, of course,
Come on.
but just experiencing that the life that you can have here in California, it can be a toxic one or it can be one of the best ones that you can ever experience.
Come on.
And that's it. And the where you separate yourself is how much positivity you can feed into your own mind by what you're doing. And if you aren't doing positive things, then I can only imagine that you're not going to be able to put too much positive things into your head
And into the world, bro.
and into the world.
Come on.
But if you are living that life that you say that you're about, that is getting people motivated to do their thing in their life just based off of your own actions, then you better keep it up, brother, because you're
real.
obviously doing something for more than yourself.
Come on.
It's got to be. And if it's not, then you got to freaking change yourself up, man, because the second that I start thinking that I control everything, I become the most anxious, most irritated, most I'm picky now all of a sudden in these ways that I wasn't.
Right.
And guess what? I go on Google and I go on YouTube and I search, how can God fix anxiousness? Not that he's the only answer, but nonetheless, brother, you put yourself into some meditation, you put yourself into some gospel or into some word, and you're gonna find out that your purpose better be bigger than yourself
Man.
always.
And I believe, like, for me, he's always just the answer because it's crazy. Like you say, you look up anxiousness and then you find something in the Bible and you like, dang, he talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
He know what I needed to hear. So
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy how God always know what we need.
Yeah.
So and it's just like, even with the trial and error and the things that you went through, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
man, to getting where you are and like you say, just building that faith. And it's crazy, we had did a podcast earlier and we talked about something similar about the whole, not being about just you,
Right.
like just doing not, doing it for others. Cause I tell people all the time, like literally if life is just about you, then
Mm-hmm.
like, you're gonna stop. Like I said, I tell people all the time, like if life was just about me, then when I'm feeling tired, I wouldn't go to work.
Right.
Like
It's just
if
about you.
life
You're tired.
come on. Like, if life was just about me, like I wouldn't do certain things. You know what I mean? But I'm like, life ain't about me. It's about my kids. It's about my family. It's about the people who are inspired. Cause I'm like, I'm human just like you. I don't want to do this.
Right.
I don't, like, seriously, but I'm like, man, like, this life ain't about me. It's to inspire others. But I'm like,
And weren't we always attracted to something like this anyway?
come on.
At the end of the day, you know what I mean? I remember telling Natrell back in 8th grade, I remember telling him, bro, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but man, I would love to just be an Olympic champion and have all these things happen for me in wrestling. And then, man, one day, wouldn't it be crazy for both of us to be on ESPN? Bro, I don't know why I wanted to be on ESPN for some reason so bad, but it was just I thought these guys were accoladed as athletes, accoladed as professionals, respected for everything that they did in their sport and in their career, and then placed in an area where it says, you know what, throw in the suit and tell people what you know about your profession because so I looked at it as a way bigger thing than what it was, but just like what we were talking about earlier with wrestling not really having very many, actually having practically zero avenues that you can go into as far as wrestling based careers. MMA, the reason why it's been such a success or such a great thing to watch since I've been doing it is because, man, I've been able to orchestrate it like a business the whole entire time, but I've never had financial income based on my mind since I started. Because if it would have been like that since I started, then I would have quit.
Right.
You know
Come
what I
on.
mean? Because, man,
That's real.
the dollars and the time and the hours and the
Come on.
commitment and the daily scheduling and everything else put into it, brother, it surpasses the amount of dollars that I'm most likely going to see from the prize money of these fights.
Right.
But best believe there's a black belt in business that's being developed
Come on.
underneath all of this mixed martial arts and all of this wrestling.
Right. Because, like I was just listening to you talk and I'm like, ain't it crazy how God worked? Like you said, like you had these plans to be an Olympic wrestler and you pushed and you worked so hard to now you transition into MMA. But it's like once again, God was getting you ready. So yeah, brother, like I was, just talking about like it's crazy how like I say, like, you put, like your dream was to be an Olympic wrestler, for all those years. And like you worked hard to that to like you say, like it's crazy how God just, he's preparing us for something and, something bigger than what we think. Like you say, like I'm sure you probably could never imagine that you would be in California doing MMA, like pursuing this for your career. Like it's crazy how God, like, he was prepping you in all those years because like even with wrestling, once again, you did that for 15 years. And I'm sure it was kind of, discouraging for you not to reach that ultimate goal of being an Olympic. But then now look where you're at, like God, like he's pushing even more purpose out of your life and
Right.
like you're even being like inspirational and like being resilient. And I'm like, that's just so, it's crazy, like
Yeah, bro.
how it work, so
I know. It's a crazy way and how it works, man. But honestly, I can't thank God enough for how he did it, man, because um I was able to go and get college educated for at least 3 years.
right.
You know what I mean? I was able to realize that I did have more than enough interest in business, but that my family did not have a business that I was going to be able to just fall into and be able to maybe work my way into becoming a manager for them. And then all of a sudden, maybe running a part of the district, or, I just always had the idea of, I need to have a business somehow because I've been wrestling my whole life and my goals were set on sports and curriculum. And I was lucky to be blessed enough to not have to, work a full-time job while going to high school and all like some people did.
Right.
And, it was a blessing and a curse, but nonetheless, like, I can never thank my parents enough for how they were able to keep me on this path that I'm on still right now, because, you know, it helped me be where I'm at. It helped me understand that, even though you didn't have a family with a business, or even though you didn't have the Olympics work out for you, and even though you aren't a college wrestling coach somewhere at a university, and, even though all those things did not happen, I was able to just see that was only one lane in life.
Right. That's real.
And so luckily I got to live a long enough life, or luckily I'm getting to live a long enough life, and hopefully even longer and more strenuous and more fruitful and more grateful.
Right.
Because it's sometimes you don't know, brother. Like
Right.
you lose people that are amazing people,
Right.
and
That's real.
or maybe not amazing, but damn near.
Right.
And it's crazy to think like how their time can hit and yours cannot. But man, brother, like I said, the time that I've been able to live and the time that I'm going to live for the remainder,
Right.
I just want to make sure that these envisions and these reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing, and that I'm continuing to inspire, continuing to at least motivate myself, is going to be worth the juice is going to be worth the squeeze, brother.
No, it is for sure. And like, man, I love what you said, how you were talking about how when you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, like you say, like in whatever area that is, then everything's going to start to fall into place and going to be aligned. Like you talk about not being a wrestling coach and things like that, but like that might be in your future. Like you talk about the MMA and the business being built.
Right.
Too tough. We might, Too Tough Gym gonna be there. Too
Absolutely.
tough. Like it's so many things that's gonna come out of this for just, just continuing just to push, And it's like, it's crazy. Like I would always try to motivate my students every day. And like, I would, write things on the board. And like one day I showed them that picture, like, I don't know if you remember that picture of the two guys digging.
Yeah.
And like one guy is right next to the diamond, like he's right there. And then another guy is like continuously still going. And the other guy just turns away when he's right there. And it's like, man, like if you would have just kept going, if you would have just kept pushing, you know what I'm saying? Like you would have reached there, And I like this video by Nipsey that I had saw. He was like, he said, I realized like when he was doing this process, he said, I'm further than from when I started. And like just stopping now, you just gonna end up back in the same place versus if you keep going, like the progression, man. Like it's gonna be more and more of that, man. And like I say, man, like you truly just, man, inspirational, bro. Like for real, and like nothing but great things is gonna happen in your future. And like that's why I'm like, man, like gotta get Trish on. You feel me? Like because I'm like, once again, he's somebody who embodies resilient, like that, not, giving a F attitude. You feel me? Like just I'm gonna pursue it, I'm gonna go get it, I'm gonna go get it after. Like I said, I love waking up every day and seeing you run on the beach. Like because once again, these things that not everybody doing, like you separating yourself, you know what I mean? So man, it's definitely motivating to see, man. And then, man, barbells jack, right, man? Talk about that, man. I see the appeal on, man. Talk about that, brother.
All right. So well, first off, man, the way this man is with the words has always been a blessing, but now, man, it's just getting out of control. It's just Curdy is Curtis, But Barbells and Jacked, man, Barbells and Peaches is the official name.
Got
But
you.
there's a men's line as well, part of it called Barbells and Jacked. And basically, it's a fitness apparel clothing line that my significant other, my girlfriend, she has started for the last couple years. And she's just doing a great job with it, man. Like it's on the upcoming, but it's already out and it's in the Southern California area. And it's just absolutely, it's inspirational for me, man.
Right.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, because I got to learn that I got to learn
that's gonna be my question.
that there's business that exists, right?
Right.
And then there's broken business.
Right. Speak on that. I like that.
And so this is where this goes. Business is what you learn whenever you realize that what you have is worth way more than whatever it is that you mutually think it is worth. Right. So basically, if I'm selling water and I buy it for 50 cents, there's no reason that if I want my business to actually be successful, if I want it to actually be something great, there's no reason why I shouldn't sell it for 4 or 5 times as much, like $2.50 minimum. Now, some people might be like, well, what do you mean? Like, you can benefit off of 10 cents. Why can't you just, but that's the problem.
Right.
How are you ever going to build anything off of only selling your water for 10 cents more?
That's real.
Whenever you're literally devaluing yourself. You're devaluing whatever you could possibly be providing for someone. And, some people like myself have to go through this process without even knowing. Right. You just find out like, oh, I shouldn't have been selling my shirts for $20 because nobody's selling shirts for, not like, but
no, it's the truth though. It's the truth.
It's the truth.
Because like, I even think back to you, like, bro, you could have named any number. I don't care if it was $100. I still would have got it because not only is it just, a shirt, but like I support what you're doing. Like it goes beyond that. Like I love what Nip used to say, proud to pay. When people support you, they always going to be, especially when they see your value, your worth, you know what I mean? Like versus like you say, we live in a world today. Like you say, if you can give it $20, like, okay, cool. Versus like, no, like, bro, you gotta know your worth, and like that's real. Because I was gonna ask you, like, man, what have you learned from your, business, from your significant other? Like you said, like broken business and business, bro. And like I love that because like that's what I'm learning too. I'm like, especially as I go on with this, I'm like, I don't just care about money. That's not, my driven purpose. But I'm like, I gotta make money too, though, to support my family, to keep investing into my business. So I'm like, boom, okay, I gotta charge this. I gotta set this. This gotta be the standard. This gotta be, because it's like, like my worth, my time, everything, So man, it's definitely, I love the example you gave. Broken business and, business, bro.
Because one of them comes from someone that got lucky enough to find their niche and to find that they could pursue through it no matter what. Right. And whenever they got to it, that they were gonna be like, wow, I was able to do this. I'm going to try this then. And once I do it, then I'm going to do this too. And whenever I get all those eggs in a line, I'm going to put it out like this. And I'm going to include these people. And man, it's going to be perfect. Right. You know what I mean? Where the broken business, it starts and stops so soon. Right. You do the service, you get the money, you don't expect anything of it, and it's over.
Right.
All those other steps are so much more important for a person that wants to be successful as far as like moving up. Like if you get 6 or 7 positives out of one transaction instead of one, right? Bro, come on, man. There's no more just one step at a time. It's 5 steps at a time. Right. It's 6 steps at a time.
And I like what you had said on like your post one day. I think it was like, why? I think somebody had asked you something like, why is it so hard to make that first 100,000 or something like that?
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, and I like that, like the answer you gave him. You was like, once you make that, like it's hard to make that first 100,000, but once you make it, then you know how to keep making it. Like, so I'm like,
Exactly.
that's real. And like, bro, just going back to the broken business,
That's
like you
the
got
business and broken business right there.
like you got me just thinking, like you say, how can I get a water for 50 cents and sell it for 60 cents, make a dime? I'm not gonna ever be able to
You're not gonna
build
ever,
off that. Like
nothing
never.
for
Like
you.
and you can be the sweetest, nicest, you never gonna build your business and really
Yeah.
business. Build your business. Like I say, that's broken business, man. I really
Yeah.
I can't wait to snippet that, man. I'll say that on camera. Like that's man, that was definitely, man, dope, man. And Trish, man, like I say, man, just continue to, just keep being inspired, man. I'm so thankful that, you even just gave me the time, just, just even this little
Absolutely.
time, man, just to, like I say, because it's gonna be somebody here that's gonna, might change their life or might, keep them inspired. Because like I said, you keep me inspired every day. I always shoot you a man. Like that's dope. Because like you going hard, I'm like, man, I gotta go hard today. You feel
That's
me?
right.
Like
Yep.
I'm like, and my heart might be a little different, right? Stay up in the classroom, teach the kids, but I'm like, shoot, I gotta go hard too now. You feel me? Like
That's
so,
it.
man, definitely, just
Thank you,
man,
brother.
you inspiring, man.
Yep.
I thank you for your time. This was, dope, man. Definitely, I know we can sit here and talk for,
Absolutely.
hours. Cause, like even, you was talking about just doing it for the ones that's, like not here.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we done lost, come on.
318 just passed.
Come on.
For Pat, man.
Come on. And, it's crazy. Cause like, speaking on Pat, man, me and Pat, man, first off, all my homies, man, and I promise you, man, Kenny, Thomas, Wesley, Landry, you, my brother, I can go on and on, right? Mike, shout out to Big Mike, Eubank, man, ATTG. We all got it tatted on us.
Yep.
Me and Pat literally got it right here, right? Right in this right spot right here, like literally same letter. We got it that night. Like, I remember, getting that tattoo and, Pat mom, like, she was hot. She like, you got a tattoo? Like, but just that, that ATTG, just that, that brotherhood, all thanks to God, like, so it's like, we never know when our time is, expiration date. So it's like, I was just talking about my podcast earlier, like, you got to make every day count because like it's just not refundable. You know what I mean?
That's
so
it.
like you say, just man, because you're going to leave a mark, bro. Like, no doubt, man. And I appreciate you once again, brother. And man, like,
yep, of course.
Excited to drop this, brother.
Before we close out, man,
Yep.
I just got to say shout out to Resiliency Cam. Shout out to Mr. Christopher Voss. Shout out for wifey being here.
Mixed by
keeping
Voss.
everybody, you know what I mean, in line, keeping everything going. And, this guy right here to my left, man, I don't know if it's to my right on the camera, but either way, this guy right here, man, he's got a great future for him. He's got a million things that are coming his way, a million things coming my way as well. So we had to tie in this episode before, before all of a sudden it takes a flight to be able to get to connected on us and everything else like that, man. So I'm so glad we were able to do it. I'm so glad we were able to connect down and do it. And, yeah, man, until next time.
Man, and then one more thing I want to say, man, shout out to mom and pops, man, because man, like, and you reference them over and over, man. They family, like so, man, so loving. I call moms, pops. You know what I mean? So
bow tie chicken pasta.
Come on, and like it's crazy.
Dinners.
We always like I know people might say like I call you Forrest. Like we've been saying that since we was in the 7th grade.
Forrest
Bubba
and Bubba.
Forrest. Come on, Forrest and Bubba and Forrest. You feel me? So
jumbo shrimp,
fried shrimp,
popcorn.
Potato strip. So man, definitely thankful, bro, and
always,
man, we out.
That's it.